Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm RJ Builds PCs, and today I'm going to teach you guys how to make one. Well, to build one. There you go. Kick it off. Okay, so with building a computer, you have 6 main components that you really have to worry about, which is starting off your CPU. Today we have the Ryzen 7 5800X we're rocking with. We have the RAM, which we have the Ripjaws G Skills 64 gigabytes. We have the SSDs. Today we have the Seagate Firecuda. I don't remember the 530. And also we're gonna pair it with a 1 terabyte Western Digital Blue. We have the graphics card, which you use for your games and stuff like that. We have the RTX 3060 12 gigabyte, and we also have the motherboard, which is pretty much like the brain of the computer. Not brain of the computer, kind of like the body. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but it's like the thing that we will be placing all of the components on. So to start off, we're going to be placing the CPU into the socket. This socket right here is called AM4. This is the AMD's platform. So the way we're going to start is we're going to find this little latch right here and pull it up, and we're just going to place the CPU in, but we're going to pay attention to this little yellow corner right here. So kind of like if you're looking at it, it's on the bottom left of the CPU, but you want to turn it 90 degrees before you put it into the socket. So it's going to place it into the socket just like this. Boom. You can give it a little wiggle and stuff like that. It's really just to make sure that's in there, and you just place it down and it's in place. Next, we're going to be inserting the RAM. So with this platform, we want to make sure that you put in the right place so that you can take advantage of dual channel, which they'll be both working together. There you go. Gonna put those down, and we just insert it. You just look at the little notch right here, and you matched up with the motherboard. And I did not do that. So when you are putting the RAM in, you want to make sure that you put a little bit of pressure, just like this. Boom. And you're going to hear some clicks when you put it in. Next, we're going to be installing the SSDs. So what you'll need for this is an M.2 screws, one of these little small screws. Actually, I have the iFixit kit that I'm going to be putting in the description. It's very useful. It comes with a whole bunch of different screw heads and stuff like that, so I'll put that in the description for you. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to screw out the M.2 screw right here. Just screw that right on out and place it to the side. And now we have our SSD right here, and we're just going to slide it right on in, just like that. We're going to get our M.2 screw and screw it right back in. Just like so. Just like that. And we're going to do the same thing with the second SSD. All right, and believe it or not, that's pretty much all you really have to do initially. Getting your CPU, RAM, and if you have like any NVMe M.2 based SSDs, this is pretty much where you're done right here. Now, what we're going to continue to do is we're going to be beginning the process of installing the CPU cooler onto the motherboard. Now, the cooler that we're rocking with today is the Asus ROG Ryujin 2 360 millimeter liquid AIO. So what we're going to do to start is going to put all the mounting hardware on there first before we even entertain anything else, because that's just how we start. So with the cooler, we have these 4 screws right here that you're going to be putting on the 4 corners. All you got to do is just screw it in. That's it. Just screw it in, and you're pretty much done with this step. The next step we're going to go ahead and do, of course, is we're going to be installing this into the case. It's very important that you put all the mounting hardware and make sure that everything on here is done before you even get to the case part, mostly because once you put it in the case, it's pretty much done from there. So you just make sure everything right here is good. And now we're gonna get on to putting this in the case. All right, so now we're going to be placing the motherboard into the case. The case we're working with today is the Be Quiet Pure Base 500DX. It's a very beautiful case. Y'all should really check this out. I'm gonna put it in the description for y'all, of course. So before we place it in, I want to let y'all know on a little bit of these cables here. So we have the power switch and the power LEDs. And the power LEDs show you when hard drives are active, and the power switch obviously is the power, turn the computer on. So that's really all we gotta work with right now. Most cases come with more cables, like the reset cable and the HDD LED, I believe. I'm gonna put like a little graph up on the screen so that you guys can see how it's oriented and whatnot. This is a ARGB cable that you can plug directly into the motherboard. But you can also use a SATA power cable in the back to turn the lights on and whatnot. I believe it's just to sync up the lights and whatnot. So this case also comes with a USB 3.0 cable right here. It's for your USB 3.0 port. This is for your HD audio, so that when you plug in your headphones and whatnot, you can hear straight from the case. And this is the USB Type-C cable that we also be placing into the motherboard as well. So you can use your USB Type-C that comes directly from the case. So I'm going to do an unorthodox way of doing this. If you're not comfortable doing it like this, you feel like you're gonna break your stuff and stuff like that, I totally completely understand. You do what you got to do at the end of the day. The case gives you little holes right here that you can route the cables to and whatnot. But from my experience, doing it this way has always helped me with cable management down the road, with making the system actually look presentable and whatnot. So what I'm going to be doing is I routed the cables through the little motherboard hole right here. I believe this is what it's called. Correct me if I'm wrong, of course. I don't really pay attention to stuff like that. And I'm going to be connecting it from inside there instead of putting it through the holes that they provided. So first, what I'm going to be plugging in is the power switch. The power switch is the top right here. And I'm going to be plugging in the power LEDs. So the plus goes on the right and the negative goes on the left. Next I'm going to be plugging in is the USB 3.0. It is much easier to do this method when they have the flat one like this. If it's like the one that kind of like is a little bally and stuff like that, it's a little, or the one that come with two cables on USB 3.0, it's really hard to do this, and I just recommend just putting it through the hole that's provided. But since it's the flat one, we're gonna go ahead and do it like this. I'll plug this in. Boom, that's plugged in. Now we're gonna plug in our HD audio. We're gonna place this heads down. What I mean by heads down is the letters right here. HD audio is gonna be facing downward. I'm gonna plug it in just like this. Plug it in. The next things that we're gonna be plugging in are the ARGB and the USB Type-C. I'm gonna start with the ARGB though. It's all the way at the top right here, at the top of the motherboard. So there we go. Just match up the pins and just plug it in, just like that. And the last thing we're going to be plugging in is the USB Type-C. Now you're going to pay attention to this little notch right here. It's kind of hard to see, but it kind of looks like a C, right? So you want to make sure that's on the left-hand side when you're plugging it in, and plug straight in just like that. And when you're placing the motherboard inside, all you want to do, or like make sure to do, is that the cables aren't in the way. You can place down like that. Place it right there on the standoffs. All I'm really doing is I'm just organizing the cables in the back. So as soon as I put this on a standoff, I'm going to pull the cables in the back so that I can get less slack and you see less cables. Alrighty, so once you have it down like this, what we're next going to do is we're going to screw in the actual screws. Now, with most of the ATX form factor motherboards, you have 6 screws that you can screw in. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I said 6, I'm at 9. You have 9 that you're gonna be screwing in. With this case, it already kind of comes with a kind of like screw and standoff by itself, so you're gonna have to account for 8 of them. So that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do right now. So the next thing we're going to be installing is the power supply, and today we're working with the Corsair RM1000X. I already have this because I want to future-proof my system down the road. You never know what the 4000 series or the 7000 series for AMD is going to provide to us, so I'm just trying to make sure I'm prepared. And so this is a fully modular power supply, which means that I get to pick and choose exactly what is going to be plugged into my motherboard, which is good because I don't got to worry about all the cables. Today, we're only going to need the motherboard power, the PCIe cable, SATA cables, and CPU power. That's really all the cables we're going to need for this process. I'm going to plug in this cables beforehand because it is very annoying to deal with it when you plugged in all the fans and stuff like that. So I'm going to do this ahead of time. The best thing about this is you can plug them straight in to the motherboard and route them through the holes provided in the case. By the way, shout out ROV Hype and ROV Productions. All right, so now that we got the cables that need to be plugged in initially, which is the motherboard power and the CPU power, we're going to be working on the back right here. And after we're done doing this, we're just going to plug the rest of the cables into the back and then install the power supply just by screwing it in. When you install your power supply, you always want to make sure that you install it with the fans down so that you don't choke it off in the case. It's very easy to find the connections in the back because they are labeled on the actual power supply, so you'll be good. And we're going to be using these SATA cables here, the SATA power, to power the lights on the actual case. And we have a hard drive that we're going to be using today as well. It's a 6 terabyte Seagate hard drive. You plug the SATA cables into the system, you just plug it into SATA. And to install this hard drive right here, we just place it all the way right here. Want to make some, actually I'll install this after I get done with the water cooler because it's gonna be a little bit of a tight fit, so I'm gonna do that first. So now I'm going to be installing the CPU cooler here. We're just gonna get the radiator with the block here. So now we're going to be installing the CPU cooler. First of all, before anything, what you want to do is you want to make sure that there's enough actual thermal paste on your CPU. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. All you need is a little P just like that, and you'll be good to go. And I'm gonna mount it. The way you mount it right here is you just line it up with the little screws that you put in before. And you have 4 screws for the AM4 platform that it actually I think it comes with for all of them, honestly, but these are the screws that you use to screw them. You can use your hands for this. So this CPU cooler actually comes with a screen, but in order for you to access you know, the screws, you have to take the actual screen off. It is magnetic, so you don't have to worry about breaking it or anything like that, so you're pretty much good to go. So all you gotta do is just, you know, finger screw on these screws real quick, just like that. You'll be good to go. As soon as you're done with that, you can use a screw to make sure it's good and tightened all the way. Just like so. You don't gotta overscrew it or anything. Just as soon as it gives you resistance, you're done. As soon as it gives you resistance, you're done. Boom, just like that. And you're good to go. All you wanna do is make sure that you have enough pressure from all sides so you can spread that thermal paste. That's literally all it is. And now, in this case right here, I am going to mount the fans on the inside right here, just like this. Turn it. I'm going to be mounting the fans from the outside right here. The real cool thing about this cooler is it comes with these Noctua Chromax fans. They're really good, really good fans. So I'm going to get to installing them right now. So all you want to make sure is that you have all the holes lined up right here. I'm going to start with this bottom fan right here. What you're going to do is line it up. Get your little screw right here, put it through the hole, and just line it up with the actual radiator and screw it in. Now that I have these screwed in, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get the fan splitter so I can make sure they all get plugged in and are all working at the same exact speeds. So I got the fan splitter right here. All you got to do is plug the 3 fans into here and plug this part into the motherboard. All right, so now with the CPU cooler, you have the RGB hub, which also controls the connection of your motherboard to the actual screen. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put this screen back onto the block right here, just like so. Let me see, make sure. Okay, yeah, just like so. What's really good about this CPU cooler right here that comes with very long cable, so it's really good with like cable management and whatnot. So we'll be putting not a block, but then put the screen back on the block right here right now. And like I said, it's magnetic, so all you gotta do is just place it right back onto there. Oh, am I stupid? Oh, haha. Place it the other way. One of them is a USB connection that you just plug straight into the motherboard, and the other one is a connection you plug straight into the actual hub right here. So all you gotta do is just like a little mini USB. You just plug that in. I'm gonna put it in the back right here. I'm gonna turn the computer on so you can see what I'm doing here. Making this so hard for myself. And while I'm back here, I'll also install the hard drive tray right here. All I gotta do is slide that right in there. All I want to do is make sure that I have enough space. That's all I really care about. Scoot over just a little bit. it'll pretty much like clip itself right in, and you just screw this in just like this. Boom and boom. Now when it comes to the hard drive, all you gotta do is plug in one of the SATA the SATA power cables into right here, and the other you're gonna plug in is the SATA data cable that comes from the hard drive to the motherboard, but we'll be doing that shortly. Right now we're just focusing. Thank God. Right now we're just focusing on the actual CPU block. Get all these cables out the way right quick. Boom, boom, boom. So when we plug in this USB right here, the USB cable, all I gotta do is just route it back around to the front. So all you gotta do is just find a little block right here that doesn't have a pinhole and match it up with the actual pin outlet right here, and just plug it in, and you got it plugged in right here. And all you gotta do now is plug in the SATA power. You're good to go back here. So I'm gonna plug in a SATA power for this, and I'm gonna plug it in. All you gotta do is just match up the little L right here. It's really easy. Just match up the L. It's like Legos. Boom. And I'm also going to plug in this cable right here that goes to the lights to the actual case. I'm just gonna tuck it in right underneath here. So now I'm going to install the GPU, and now I'm going to install the rest of the fans. Are going to go into the rest of the system, and we'll be good to go. My name. So for installing the GPU, what you're going to do is you're going to find, I've already kind of taken out the parts for right here, but more times often than not, really depends on your motherboard, and it's really good for you to check beforehand instead of just, you know, just making an assumption that it's always going to be the same way, because it's not always the same way. For this layout, this motherboard, I'm taking out the second bracket and the third bracket. Now I see that you guys noticed that the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth bracket is also not here. That's also because I'm going to be installing a capture card into my system, so that's why you see that this bracket is also missing. So what you want to do is right here, you see the pin layout, and you see this little kind of like hooking little thing right here. It's for this little hook to kind of like keep the graphics card in place. It's kind of just like the clips that hold your RAM in place, but only for your graphics card. What you want to make sure to do is just push it down so you make sure that it is open, and you want to find, it's just like fitting in Legos, right? You just find the pin and layout, and you just push, and it'll clip right in just like the RAM. And the way that you screw it in, they already have screws provided for you, so you just screw it back in with the screws that you took out for the bracket. And it's just as easy as that. You screw it in, screw it in, boom. It's that easy. And the next thing you want to do is just plug the actual PCI cable into the graphics card. I have one that has 2 right here, but this is only because, again, for future reference and for like future cards, the stronger cards and stuff like that, that actually have like 2 or more of these cables right here. That's what it's for. But for right now, we're only be using one because the RTX 3060. So we're gonna plug it in right here, just like this. Boom, plug it in. And then we're gonna route the cables down just like this. You can kind of like zip tie, you know, the cable and whatnot and make it look pretty, but it's kind of just sit here and like, you know, hang for right now. But that's totally completely okay. You know, we can take care of that later. So that's pretty much it. The last thing to do really is to turn the PC on and see how it looks. All right, so that's pretty much it. I hope that you guys like the video. Every part that I have here in this build is going to be linked in the description. Hope you guys like the video, share the video. You know, I have a Discord, I have Twitch and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to put that all, in the description as well. I'll see you guys next time in the next video. Thank you so much.